has that number 9 shirt for the Super Eagles, just like Odion Halo did back in the day. So Victor has that. But when Victor is not around, it's crazy for the team. We suffer. And who is the backup for Victor? Anytime we talk about the Super Eagles, we're always forced to go back to 1994, where there was a substitute for every single player. No player could even do Shakara. Well, maybe we had the great Rashidi Yakini, who was to date the greatest goal scorer of the Nigerian national history with 37 goals. But Daniel Amokachi had a substitute in Samson Siase. In fact, Samson Siase was the top player then. Amokachi was always sitting on the bench. And Emmanuel Amunike did not even get to play in the Africa Cup of Nations until the final match against Zambia. Do we have that now? I'm not sure. So I don't know what sort of identity we'll call that, because Victor Boniface was called in to deputize for Victor Osimhen, but he just can't seem to fit into the Super Eagles and get the goals. He scored massive goals 2 seasons ago, 21 goals for Bayer Leverkusen when they won the league and got all the way to the Europa League and won the Europa League as well. But he cannot get it. So we're still looking for that identity. We're looking for a substitute for the Super Eagles, and we hope that we can get it with this string of friendlies. Maybe just before September, we might have that team that Eric Sekochel is looking to find. We have the pool of players, but can we actually get them at the problem?
All right. I really like how you have actually approached all of this more like from a historic point of view. But one of the things that I love that you did mention is the style of football. And you said, hey, the AFCON and all of that. So let's get to it, because there's a growing concern, growing argument amongst football fans, lovers, analysts, pundits, whatever you call them, that Nigeria is no longer a footballing force. They would say a footballing nation. And that's because we no longer have an identity. So for some, they say, prior to this time, Nigeria had some sort of style. You also did mention that now you see some level of individual brilliance. And really, a lot of people say that what we play now is based on individual brilliance. So I'd like to ask you, do you agree with this view that we no longer have a football identity and that we're just, what we have really now is based on individual strength and flash and what have you? Have we really lost it?
Yeah, like I said, I think that we've been playing around with it because we've also been playing around with coaches, and the coach has to instill some sort of philosophy. I'll choose to say philosophy. If you have a Super Eagles back in the days, we always used to wing play. We never lack wingers. Most of the best players in the world are wingers. Cristiano Ronaldo is a winger, So we do have that. We've had some who have been very constant. So I'm looking at philosophy. So if philosophy cannot stay, if you do not have, some sort of consistency in the managerial aspects. But hey, you would argue that Brazil will be Brazil, even though you bring a Scolari, even though you bring an Jose Mourinho right now, it's still going to be Brazil. But don't forget, Brazil is no more Brazil. It's no more that force. They haven't been in the top 3 for many years, or top 5. So I think that I can relate that to the inconsistency in coaching. And yes, I believe also, and I agree with people who say that our identity, which was once the top 5 team in the world, which was a team that anybody would be scared of, obviously is missing at the moment. We try to bring that back with the late Stephen Keshi, God rest his soul. When we got to the point of winning the AFCON in 2013, it looked like a semblance of it. But unfortunately, we used some players who were probably, they were in their prime. The likes of Sunday Mba, Emmanuel Emenike, Victor Moses still went on to play, a whole lot more. But then that's the national team for you. It evolves, just like every other team as well. But if we have a better grassroots development system, if we have more consistency from the under 17 right up to the top, not every player who plays the under 17 is going to make it to the top. We all know that. Kanu Wankwo is a product of the under 17. Wilson Aruma was. Kelechi Iheanacho, Victor Osimhen, who's been celebrated over the world is. But we still need to have a structure that has them, playing together. If the NFF can help these players also get very good clubs, and we have teams, players that can honor invitations and not choose the friendly matches they're going to be playing for. Argentine players don't even try that. They cannot try it. Moroccan players, any single match, any sort of match that they're asked to come play, they will come play. So we're losing it because we do not have consistency at the top. And there's something that Sparks or Siemens had with Finidi George did. It really ridiculed, local coaches. I know it was just the Finidi George issue, but Osina is a great player. He's loved by many. But, the fact that he went all out and talked about a coach like that, I think that's where the NFF said, you know what, it looks like this, local coaches are not good enough for the team. But I think he's since been forgiven. Osimhen himself is the man who drives the team these days. It's no surprise he is the best player in the team. No offense to anyone else. Even though William Troost-Ekong is, in quotes, the best in defense and he's the captain these days, we do have some players. We need to get these players, playing more. We need Coach Eric Sekoshel, who is in charge right now. Because, like I said, you cannot talk about identity without talking about the man in charge. We need to get him to make up his mind who are his players at the moment. For instance, the Unity Cup had a different set of players from the friendly against Russia. So Unity Cup were made to understand it was just for exposure of local-based players, and many players didn't come. Of course, our regular suspects were in there. So the game against Russia was a more serious one. I have no problem with you exposing players, but how do you integrate them? For instance, Xavier Isaac, the only outfield player that was invited for the Russia game, did not get to play. He didn't even play the Unity Cup. So what are you doing with these home-based players? Are you trying to integrate them or you're trying to sell them? I think we need to leave all this marketing of players aside. We are in a precarious situation.
Yeah,
and trust me,
but
Messi.
Mighty George, should we leave the Super Eagles to the hands of the coach who will come in with their philosophy? We've had Eric is here now. We've had Finidi. We've had what's his name again, Pesero. We've just had them. We can just go on and all of that. So should we allow the Super Eagles to the hands of the coaches who would determine? Because it's as though for every government you have different ideology. There's no continuity because government is supposed to be a continuum. And so we expect that football should have a structure. So should we continue in this style? Let's even look at, Spain. I don't know if in the law of comparison it's okay to compare the Super Eagles with Spain, but let's look at, what happens there. From the men's to the women's, team, including the youth, they play the same way. Quick passing, keeping possession, controlling the midfield. Everybody knows that that's the style, that's the plan. But that's not the case for us. So how do you even integrate the players, from, what's it called again? Under 17. How do you integrate them to the Super Eagles when there's no uniformity in the play style? What exactly are we playing? What is our structure? What are we known for? So the question I would also ask again is, how long will we continue to just allow the coaches come around and we can just continue in that circle of any coach that comes around, they come with their ideology, they come with their style, they come with whatever it's working for them, or we just allow it to the hands of, individual talent, and that works?
Yeah, that's a great point, Messi. That's very great. And we're not supposed to allow it in the hands of these coaches that come. We're supposed to have our identity, or call it philosophy, or call it ideology. It's the same thing. In the past, I think one man who helped instill that philosophy was Clemens Vesterholm. And Joe Bonfred took over from there as the coach of the Olympic team. So you could see that we were actually in ascendancy from 1994. The thing is that Clement Westerhoff didn't come in just in 94. He was there back in 1989 and built the team onto that time. Joe Bonfred was with him all the way. Super Eagles were known for wing play, all right? Square it in, sending it to your Rashidi Akini or get a Sunday Olise, who came later on, who was one of the youngest players, by the way, in 1994. And then at the time, it was just revolve around JJ Okocha, get the ball to JJ Okocha, just like Barcelona used to do, just get the ball to Lionel Messi. That's the tiki-taka, obviously, but someone has to do it or, do the work for that. Someone has to be able to distribute those balls, and that was Messi. For Nigeria, we still don't have those very fast-paced wingers. That was our philosophy and our ideology. Just get the balls there, run in, swing it in. But football is gone beyond that, just running and getting players on the wings to swing it in. If you see how the players play in their respective clubs, Victor Osimhen doesn't necessarily really receive the ball from the wing. He could get it from the center, and he does a lot of running around. The problem also has been players who have not been played, in their positions. For the likes of Terry Murphy, some of the players who have come and then gone or not been invited for some time, it's because they have probably just played out of position. Terry Murphy, primarily a striker. All right, we saw him give us an important spot kick at the Cup of Nations in 2024. But he was played like as a supporting striker. Back in the Afcon, injuries have also affected him as well. What about Victor Boniface? Is he receiving the ball as he's supposed to? How he receives them? I think it's also a problem for him. I remember the last attempt that he had against Russia. It was swung in, from the right-hand side. He had a header to it. At least he touched the ball, against what some people have said he was not touching the ball. So we need now, if we are going to have a philosophy, it means that we need to revert to the old philosophy that we had. Fast-paced wingers, wing play. We're known for that. Tijani Babangida, even Finidi George himself, contributed to the style of football that we had back in the day. He was regarded as one of the best number sevens in Europe that time. When Finidi was very, very hot, he won the Champions League with Ajax when Kanu Nwankwo came to meet him in the team. So if we can have that, we had a semblance in that too with Ahmed Musa. Ahmed Musa managed to be one of our best wingers at the points, even ended up our top goal scorer in the World Cup. So Messi, like I said, it still boils down to what the coach, would do now. Because this NFF, if we have not been able to get it from the grassroots, we have a technical department headed by Austin Eguavoen, and I think that that's the job he's supposed to be doing. What kind of football are we going to be doing? What kind of football will we be playing? He, at one time, when he took over the Super Eagles, says he has a philosophy, just like Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola sometimes plays with a false nine and still gets the job done. There's a lot of passing, there's lots of fluidity. That Pep Guardiola benefited a lot from tiki-taka. Are we that sort of team? Do we have the players that can play that sort of fluidity? If that is what we are going to do, then Austin Eguavoen should sit down there at the NFF technical department and school every coach that comes. And maybe when the coach is not around, run this through from the grassroots system. We lack proper grassroots, approach to Nigerian football. And that is why even when players come out of the under-17, they go their separate ways. They are tutored by different coaches in different clubs. And when they come back, they are trying to see how they can adapt and play again. But if they already know that this is the style that Nigeria plays, I think that, and every coach that comes also has that in mind, it'll be better for us. Or after all said and done, philosophies do win football, but at the end of the day, it's the tactics of the coach. At some points that will make the job count, and we're hoping that Eric Sekoshel comes with that. But do we have that spark that we used to have, that style that we used to have, running with the ball with the JJs, with the Daniel Mokachis. We don't have that. We just pray that, we have a Victor Osimhen who is fully fit. We have a Demola Lookman who is fit, and then they can do anything with the ball. That's what we have at the moment.
Yeah, we would have to take a quick break now, and when we return, the conversation will continue right here. I mean, I've just loved and enjoyed this conversation with Mighty George here, because every other time you want to ponder why you have all of this talent. Sometimes Nigerians get very frustrated. They go online, you're just throwing jabs and yabbing, just talking about this talent. Because you look at them, they play in their various clubs. They are superstars. They're shining. They're just doing so well. They're just, and then when they come back home, it looks like, nothing is actually happening. And then you begin to wonder what's going on here. But then it would just be, a conversation that we'll continue to have, hoping that it gets better for us as a country and as a nation. Please stay with us. We'll be right back after this time out.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we'll connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
You're still watching Ways hashtag What Are You Saying? Now, thank you so much for tuning in. Tonight, we're asking the question, do the Super Eagles have a football identity? Do we have a football identity as a country? I mean, some people think that we've lost that. We're no longer what we are. And we're just also anticipating the FIFA World Cup qualifiers sometime in September. Mighty George is still here. Many thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much for having me.
Can you hear me, George?
Yeah, I can hear you. Great.
All right, so quick one. Whilst, before we went on that break, you did talk about the fact that we lack proper grassroots approach to football. I'd like you to, talk more about that. When you say we lack proper grassroots approach to football, what do you mean?
Well, football starts from the basics. We see the academies, and some might say it might be far-fetched to go all the way to England, but these are the models that we like to copy. Most of the players, interestingly, in the Super Eagles, benefited from that model. Ola Aino, William Trustekong, Ademola Lookman, Alex Iwobi, the best players, the players who are contributing a lot, in the Super Eagles right now. The core of the Super Eagles went through grassroots structure, academy, where they learned from the basics. Interestingly, about 5 of the players now have represented England in a junior team before they came to represent Nigeria. Exceptions obviously would be Samuel Chukwueze, Victor Osimhen, who started at home, who really played football on the streets when they were young. So we need to catch them early, have a plan, a development plan, make a 10-year agenda and things like that. It's what we've been talking about, going back to the drawing board. But it looks like this drawing board, I don't think that, Nigerian sports administrators think about that. They just think about the immediacy, what can be done right now. Nigeria should stop being a competition team, a competition country. We see that from the Olympic Games. It's when we have the Olympic Games coming up or the Commonwealth Games, that's when we start assembling. It shouldn't be like that. The states should be doing things from the Governor's Cup, which held sway in the past. You know, players were taken from secondary schools, the likes of Shegun Degbabi, mathematical, all of them, Adoke Emesemaka, came from secondary schools and eventually, you know, represented in Nigeria in a national team. That is missing now. If secondary schools are doing competitions, it's probably just for their inter-house sports. What is the schools department, you know, school sports department in the NFF doing? Since we're talking football now, but I like to generalize it for even all sports. Because at the end of the day, most of these athletes, for instance, you cannot find an athlete who is based in Nigeria doing so well. He has to go or she has to go abroad to make it happen and to train under the best of conditions, to learn how to run sub nines and sub tens for in the case of the sprinter.
Do have a bit of a network connection right there, but hoping that Mighty George will join us soon. Now,
Same way with you know, actually, you know, learning football from to ensure that we have the school sports departments, the grassroots football departments. You know, it's going to take time. Yeah, obviously, yeah, they need to get back to the drawing board. But what can we do now? We have a host of players that we found from abroad, and that's the thing. Most of the players who come to the Super Eagles are people we discover. Oh, this one is playing in Austria. This one is playing here. Invite him, invite him. You don't even know how they got there. You know, so.
But Mighty George, is it not the same thing that we're suffering? Is this not, you know, a general issue with Nigeria where there's always preference for foreign-made goods and products? We never look inwards. We're always very quick to look outwards, get the help there. Everybody wants to jackpot. Nobody thinks that anything good is going on here. Can you hear me, George?
Yes, in all fairness, they are also Nigerians, right? I remember when Osaze, anytime they call him Oyibo, he was not he could fight you. He says, "I'm not Oyibo. I this country as much as you do." You know, so for instance, you call somebody Tokumbo, you know, but they are Nigerians. Their parents migrated. You know, the Lord pushed them out of Nigeria. If they didn't go outside of Nigeria, I don't know if they would have kids who are you know, superstars like that. It happened to Alex Iwobi, Victor Osimhen, William Trustekon, Olaino. All I mean, that's it. But you can't blame anybody for choosing those guys who are doing well in top clubs, because as much as we love football, the home of football is not Nigeria. The home of football is out there. That's where they play under scientific conditions. Football is now scientific. That's why you see European teams. Their players are normally always under the best of conditions. So they always get there. Even if they are on break from their clubs, if they go back to their countries, they are still training under the same regime. Imagine Nigerian players have a coach that respects abroad and only to come back to Nigeria, and then is one coach who is telling them, "Oh yeah, start running like this, run like that." You know, so the disparity is a whole lot more. If we want to be serious about football business, let's make it football business. Let's stop being a competition country. Let's stop just gathering players and then NFF assembling because of money. We need to really, really do football business. It means that we must have sports scientists. I have been involved in football administration, and of course, Messi, I'm sure you know that. My time with Vanders FC taught me a whole lot, even though the club was frustrated out of the Nigerian league. You have to have sports scientists for these guys. You have to have, you have to have the same thing that they have abroad. Try and have it. Then when they come home, I'm sure they'll feel relaxed. And there's the argument that you have to get them a foreign coach before they respect that. But I don't think so. I just think you need a coach who knows his onions and has gone on trainings. And then when you come back, when that coach speaks,
Josh, let's quickly open up the phone lines now. Let's open up the phone lines so we have those who want to call in, calling, I'm sure that you're probably eager to be part of this conversation. Let's hear what you have to say. Remember that you can join the conversation by sending an SMS or WhatsApp to the number 081 8038 and 46 and 63. 081-8038-46 SMS and WhatsApp to that number. Now, phone lines are also open. It means that you can call 070-250-07749 or 070-1424-24 and 20. Let's hear what you have to say. Do you think that the Super Eagles, do you think that we have a football identity? Is it clear? What do you think about the Super Eagles? Let's hear your thoughts tonight, all of you football lovers. Now, but quick one, let's move away from that because we're costing the conversation down. Super Eagles' next game is going to be a home match against Rwanda in September. Do you think that, Coach Eric can actually turn the table around in the group that we're in, already knowing that, we're just lagging behind? From you don't even need to say anything. From your expression already, it's a sorry.
I'm shaking.
George, I can't hear you.
I said I'm shaking. I'm really shaking. That game has me shaking a lot. I hope you can hear me now. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. That game has got me really shaking because, apart from the fact that I'm a fan of the Super Eagles and I follow the Super Eagles, I cover the Super Eagles. I am the stadium announcer for the Super Eagles as well. So I get to ginger the crowd. I remember, I can imagine what happened, against Zimbabwe in the last game. I remember what happened. While we were celebrating that we had won that game, that late equalizer that came, off the corner of, Willem Tristekong just dampened the spirit. So I didn't really know what to say again and how to ginger the crowd. So it's a game that we're anticipating. Eric Shell, interestingly, hasn't lost the game since he came. But this is the same thing we talked about, Finidi George. Eric Shell has played 5 games. He has won 2 and drawn 3. All right? He beat Ghana, beat Benin Republic. He drew against Zimbabwe. He drew with Jamaica, drew with Russia. We don't want all those things anymore.
Go ahead.
We're supposed to come and, hit the ground running. Let's get to give us any hope. Eric Shell was supposed to win his first 3 games, but now I really doubt it. With 4 games to go and us being at the abyss of the table, anything could just happen. Even if we get to win all our games, which is a doubt because going to South Africa is going to be a very, very tough one for us when we're in Johannesburg. South Africa already, in a comfortable place on top, but them losing at home, it's a big doubt. So against Rwanda, yes, we can beat them. I believe we can beat them. Eric Shell knows that we have to beat them to even stand any chance. So I think that all will be done to ensure that we beat them. But what happens after that is what I'm not sure about. We just hope the players come to the party. We hope that with these games, he's been able to see how he can instill some sort of commitment. The problem, though, is that our key players, 2 of our key players were in there. The best, hitman. We're not there in this experiment and this FIFA window. So I don't know. Yes, there are players that can easily walk into the team and get their shirt, but I just hope that they'll be able to understand the vision and the mission. It's all about getting all 3 points and hopefully hoping that the other teams would drop points. But hey, we have the calculator again, and that's what we need to do, start pressing it. Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Well, the phone lines are still open, please, and you can also send your messages right here. The number again to send it to SMS and WhatsApp to the number 081-8038-4663. The phone lines are open 070250077 and 49 or 0701 42424 and 20. Let us hear what you have to say. Do you think that, the Super Eagles do have an identity? Some people are arguing that, hey, we've lost it as a footballing nation. That style, we're no longer playing based on structure. We're just playing based on, individual philosophies and brilliance and what have you. But you have seen the few games that we have played. The Unity Cup, you've seen the friendly match against Russia, even though I thought that FIFA banned Russia. We probably would have just given them like a 10-0, but I was just taken aback with, how the game actually went. What exactly do you think that we need to do? Okay, I think you're saying something, but I can't hear you. George?
I said Russia is one of the strongest teams to play these days. Before the game they played against us, they scored 36 goals and considered, I'm telling you, in 2025 alone, although they were playing the likes of Zambia and, Cyprus and all those things, but they actually, if you watch that game, they pressed us. So they would have, would have gone out with a defeat. But I think it was a good test. It was a good test, and it's good that we held our own and didn't lose. But like you said, Russia, they're not FIFA, approved at the moment. But at the end of the day, it was still $800,000. We couldn't miss that kind of money. That's what the NFF were paid. So that's why they were very serious about that friendly. And I think it really showed us what the young man Tolu Arokodare could do. So we do have an idea that if Victor Osimhen is not scoring, which I doubt he would always score if he has the opportunity, Victor Boniface is not scoring, then Tolu can do it. And yeah, that's opened that up to us.
But one of the things, George, that a lot of people complained about was the formation for the game. They talked about the formation that Eric is currently playing. And so moving forward, do you think that, what we had, the friendlies, the World Cup qualifiers, I beg your pardon, the Unity Cup, do you think there's anything that's lagging that we can actually work on, that we can actually improve? There's a player that we need to substitute. There's a player that we don't need to play or start the game with, and all of that.
Well, it's the same formation that got him his first victory. He plays 4-3-3. Having three on the front and then four at the back as well, with William Troost-Ekong, Calvin Bassey playing in the center. It was good to have the likes of Frank Onyeka today. He seems like our most dependable midfielder because after you guys had Cost and, Cost.
Go ahead.
But I mean, Kelechi Iheanacho, I don't know why he gets invited. He's really underperforming these days. The quality of players is very, very important. But I have a problem with you inviting Kelechi Iheanacho. I mean, that's a guy he's not even wanted by his former club. He was, sold out to Sevilla. Sevilla loaned him out. He's gone back to Sevilla now, but he might not even still get playing time. That's one minus. Has he done well for Nigeria? Yes, he scored crucial goals. I remember the goal he scored. I was there in Ndola, Zambia, when he scored the winning goal for Nigeria against Zambia on our way to the, AFCON in our way to the World Cup in 2018. So these are players who have done their time. And I think that Nigeria should stop even crucifying them. Let's just thank them and say, okay, thank you very much. It's your time to go. Wilfred Ndidi, for instance, too, it's not living up to expectation. I think that it might be time to drop Wilfred Ndidi, Kelechi Iheanacho. Victor Boniface is still, a hot cake in Europe. And if not for the fact that he turned down and moved to Saudi Arabia even last season, he would have been earning big bucks. But he has not been able to click. And he joked about even retiring from football. I think that was a joke taken too far. Nigerians have a right to criticize when you're not getting a goal, when you're supposed to be like a substitute for Victor Osimhen. So we need to try out maybe Victor Boniface again. If it doesn't work out well for him, I think we might have to rest him for a while, not give him a call up anymore. Maybe for some time, or we call him up, we put him on the bench. So my picks there. Kelechi Iheanacho, please kiss the Super Eagles bye-bye for now, except something changes in your game. Wilfred and Didi, thank you very much. You have done so well. It's time to let it go. And who else? Who else? I think that Alex Iwobi would always come in handy. I mean, he played very good for Fulham in the past season, the outgoing season with Calvin Bassey. I think that we can still invite Alex Iwobi. Of course, Frank Onyeka is the new man there in the midfield. Fisayo Dele Bashiru is our new number 10. He has to get a call up again. Of course, Ademola Lookman, Victor Osimhen. We still have the players, even though we dropped some of the players, we still have players that can prosecute this. But we need a fighting spirit, although it's quite late right now. But they need to fight. At least, even if we do not qualify and end up going to the playoffs, let's see that this guy is fought. They dropped their guard earlier on, or maybe due to the change of coaches, but let's see that they have fought themselves, fought their lives out to qualify Nigeria for the World Cup. It is not our birthright, but hey, we cannot be losing out on back-to-back World Cups. It's a sign of, more than anything, I don't want Ghana banter. I don't want to be.
I think that is one of the favorite things I get to enjoy. The AFCON was, one of my favorite moments, and I was really heartbroken when we didn't get that particular one. It was so painful. But the boys actually put up a great show. Let's see how all of this pans out. Mighty George, it has been an amazing conversation, and I hope that we can do this some other time. It's good to also hear that this is actually a joke from Boniface, because I woke up to the fact that he said he's no longer playing football. He's no longer playing for the team. I can hear you.
Yeah, I tell you, he jokes a lot. And, after that joke,
it was a joke.
The post.
So it was a joke. Oh, it was a joke. Oh, great. Great joke. It was an awesome joke.
He was not happy, and then after he posted it, maybe Victor told him, "Are you crazy? Get it up," So he
all right.
Replaced it with, typical Victor Boniface, always joking around. And it has to be a joke. See, he must score goal before he retires from Super Eagles.
Well, looking forward to all of that. George, it has been a very interesting conversation. Thank you so much for making our time to be part of the show tonight. We do appreciate you. All right, so we've been speaking with Mighty George. He's a fantastic, sports journalist, amazing. He's been very involved with the Super Eagles. He's been doing a lot, including, the local team, Vandreza FC. He probably was very involved as well. But that's the much that we can take. And thank you for making our time to listen. We will definitely return, all things being equal, on Monday. But just before you go, do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV and interact with us further. All you can do is drop a comment, and most importantly, follow us on all of our social media platforms and engage. Now, remember to like, share, and comment. That's the only way you can be part of the family. Invite your friends and family to watch and follow us as well. Let's hear your thoughts. So just go ahead on our social media platforms and engage, with this post and this conversation. What do you think about the Super Eagles? We do have a game to play in September. It's going to be a home game. Rwanda would be, that leg that will be taken, and of course afterwards, hopefully we stand a chance. And then we'll probably have to face South Africa. Now, if you miss our quote for today, it says that football is a universal language. It brings people together, irrespective of their nationalities, culture, or beliefs. Jurgen Klopp, one-time super, coach for the Liverpool. I will see you, hopefully, on Monday. Enjoy the rest of your evening. My name is Messi Ibopo. Good evening.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population. And with little or no meaningful engagement, lives a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.